Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to this video lecture. Today we'll be looking at reading text. So we'll be looking specifically into linear and non-linear text, where we can look at the differences between those two, how to interpret non-linear text, how to describe charts and diagrams, as well as how to transfer information from linear to non-linear, as well as the other way around. So without further ado, let's look at it. So let's look at the difference between linear and non-linear text. Both of them are very different because they have the different forms. So for linear text, these are traditional text that needs to be read from the beginning to the end. For example, novels, poems, short stories, letters, educational text, even these slides. So anything that has been written down or typed is called linear text. But for non-linear text, it is the opposite of linear text. Examples of non-linear text are flowcharts, charts, graphs. For example, it can be pie chart, bar graphs, graphical organizers such as knowledge maps, story maps, mind maps, those kinds of things, where we have minimal amounts of words and it contains the points or the content that they want to show without going further into too much into the writing. Okay, so let's look at examples. Some example of like we mentioned earlier, linear text can be like novels, can be like this slide, as well as any kind of reading material that you can see. Whereas for the non-linear text, it can be like this one, the what we say line chart here, line or graph chart here. So you see there are the title there, and then what you can see that they contain information, but it's not written totally written with words, but they show it in form of shapes or any kinds of figures or something. Okay, so linear words, non-linear graphics. That's the best way to differentiate both of them. Okay, so how do you describe charts and diagrams? Because for your assessment, one of the questions will be asking you how you can get the information from the graphs or charts given. So this is how you use the phrases that you can use to describe charts and diagrams. For example, the pie chart or the bar chart or the graph chart shows you want to explain about the graphics. Okay, maybe you talk about the topic, the title there, and then because every single thing that is required, not required, that the graph there contains every single information that you need to be able to explain it to other people. Okay, you can look at the title, you can look at the details in the graph. Those will be able to help you explain the chart to everyone. But how do you explain? Use some of these phrases. So it highlights when you want to show comparison, you can use it is bigger than what, is more than berapa percent, is less than that. So those are the things you want to show comparisons. You want to show there is a change from this one, from especially graphs that show different times. For example, in 2010 this is 10, but in 2015 it becomes 5 or something. On 2020 it becomes even less. The number decreases or goes down or sinks by. You show there is a change there. Comparison, you want to say bigger or smaller than. Then comparison, you want to show changes. You can see maybe it is decreasing or increasing or it is stable. There is those are how you going to use to describe. Okay, and then the first two is how you want to show what is the chart is about. Okay, the pie chart is about something, the graph is about something, right? And then the second one is you want to show off the biggest highlight of that. Means that the key points you want to show from the chart or the graph here. So you can use as that, right? So step to transfer information from linear to non-linear. Okay, so you want to transfer from text into chart, meaning that you are trying to make a chart from a text. The first thing, you read the passage to get a general idea of the subject matter. What is the passage about? For example, it talks about the dangers of not having enough sleep, for example. So you need to be able to understand what the topic is about, how they elaborate, how they split the items, split the ideas into the each paragraph, so that you will be able to take out what you need for your graph charts or anything. Okay, and then look at the visual to identify what information is needed. So this is the other way around. Okay, for you want to do linear to non-linear to linear. So look at the chart, whatever you want, you need to be able to understand which one is important for you to know. For example, which one is the biggest, which one is the smallest, then what is the whole thing about. Those are what you need. And then look at the relevant information and transfer it to the chart. Use keywords. For this one is how you transfer what we say passages into the chart. For example, you want to fill in the blank in a chart. So read through the whole passage. Look at which part of the chart is missing. This is actually the second part. Look at which part is missing, and then look in the text. If that part of the text contain the part, highlight it, and then move it to the chart. Use keywords for that, so that you can transfer the ideas correctly. So this is how you move information from text into non-linear. You're moving from a text into a chart or something, okay, or maybe a diagram. Okay, the other way around is almost the same way. Okay, if you want to transfer from chart to text, locate the relevant information that you want to know. For example, the title, the biggest thing, the smallest thing. If there is changes, then you transfer it into words using the phrases that have been given in the previous slide. Okay, that is basically how the steps to transfer the information from linear to non-linear and non-linear to linear. So let's look at an example of how do you transfer non-linear into linear. Okay, so a higher possibility you will get is questions like this. Okay, this is a pie chart. So for this pie chart, you can look at it, see what are the details that are in the pie chart. For example, we have the title there, and then there is specific time frame, and then each pie they have percentages, and then the name of the percentage, as well as the different sizes of the pie chart. Okay, so that is a possible chart or graph that you might see in questions. So from this, they will ask several questions that but definitely will be about the chart. So let's look at the samples. For this one, okay, there are 5 here. This is a possible question that might come out for you. So first things first, what does the pie chart describe? This is the simplest thing. When you look at the chart, the answer is given here. Look at the title, you will already know what is the chart about. Everything is all about scams. So the answer will be the pie chart describes the top scams in Malaysia from 2020 to January 2020 to June 2020. Must include the details. Okay, top scams in Malaysia, and then the time period if they give you. Okay, if you don't give you, try to look at. Sometimes they give like a bar chart. They use January, February, March, April, May. That you need to create the sentences from the idea there. Okay. So the pie chart describes the top scams in Malaysia from January 2020 to June 2020. Must have the top scams in Malaysia and then the time frame. That will ensure you get the 1 mark. Right. And then B. What is the most common scam in Malaysia for the first half of 2020? So first half of 2020, you remember January to June, first half, July until December is another half. So the pie chart describes the first half, So which is the biggest one? You can see biggest one in the chart. So that one, look for the biggest one, transfer the answer into the question. So this answer will be e-commerce scam. E-commerce scam, yeah? That's the biggest one because it has 49% there. Compared to the other, they have 7, 15, 10, 18, 1. So that is the biggest one in the chart. So that will be the answer. Okay, and then which two scams in Malaysia demonstrated a percentage difference of 11% from January to June 2020? So demonstrated a percentage difference, meaning that their numbers, when they are divided, they are 11% there. So go back to the chart, look at the chart, each part, try to subtract either one. For example, 49 subtract by 15. Do you get 11? If no, then try with the others until you get 11, because they want to show the 11 difference. Okay, so after you get it, list down the two scams that got the answers. For this one, it will be social media impersonation scam and internet left scam, because social media impersonation scam is 18%, while internet left scam is 7%. 18 minus 7 is 11. So that will be the answer. Okay. 4D. List two social media platforms to carry out social media impersonation scams. So for this one, this is from you. Any possible answers can be accepted as long as it makes sense. So for this one, some of the answers will be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, MySpace, TikTok, anything that makes sense. Social media platform, anything that makes sense will be accepted. So you need to get both correct to get one full mark. Okay, right. And then lastly, suggest one way to prevent internet love scams. Okay, this one is also from you. Any answer that makes sense, is correct, will be accepted. For example, do not easily trust people, conduct a thorough background check on the people they are communicating with, do not share personal details or information, and pay attention to red flags. So as long as it fits the question, it will be accepted. Okay, so this is part of the information transfer part in your reading test. You have a lot of other parts which is similar to what you have experienced if you took ELC151. So do not worry about that. You can do practices which will help you understand better on what they want to test you on. Okay? But for information transfer, this is what they usually go with. Okay? They will ask you to describe, and then they will ask you about the differences, which is show off which one is the biggest or the smallest, or any changes, and then the differences like that. Okay, and then some questions that may ask you about your own opinion. Okay, so for this one, that is it for the information transfer. The only thing that you need to remember when you do information transfer, in either way, try to read as much as you can, understand as much as you can about the text that you're reading. For example, if you're reading linear text, then you must know, or you must understand that the text is all about, it's written there, and you need to be able to understand where are the key points and the ideas there. For non-linear text, you need to be able to understand, you need to identify where are the points there, where are the ideas, where are the charts, where are the key ideas which will be used for the answer. So thank you very much for listening to me. My name is Shazwan. Hope this helps you guys. We'll see you in the next one. See you.